whatever out there is telling you that you're not is wrong. Because you a human just like me. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But you know what? I do enjoy when that sun comes up. Because I know I have another opportunity to be less ass today than I was the day before. Right? I'm going to be real with you. I'm just hoping that I'm a little better today than I was yesterday. That's it. I'm not trying to be better than him. I'm not trying to be better than him. But what I will do is I will keep putting in the time. I will keep putting in the work. I will get discouraged, and I will keep going. Because we as human beings are ultimately resilient. Pick something you want to do. You don't have to be good at it. In fact, it might be better that you're not good at it. And then do that thing. And then do it and do it and do it and do it and do it. And then after you're done it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, 500 times, 1,000 times, 10 years, then judge your work. See where you're at on it. I promise you, you won't be where you started. Welcome back into Climbing the Summit podcast, where the ultimate summit is self-discovery, self-realization. I'm your host, Danny Cobbin, and I received a few pictures via Facebook. Snapchat also does the same thing, where every once in a while it'll send you a picture from 5 years ago, 7, 10 years ago, which is actually a really cool feature. And today a picture came up from a class that I was coaching 5 years ago at the lab, which is actually my original physical education facility, place that I worked at. And it was started by a man named Benny Wiley, who is the head strength coach over at USC right now. Won the show NBC Strong. And he was like, man, you would be really good for this. And this is actually right around the time where I left UPS. And it's funny because 5 years later, what I see about that is I'm coaching a class tonight at Sunny Isles, yoga. And the path has changed just a little, right? From let's lift and let's get our physical body strong, which I think is a great thing. I think is valuable. You got to do it as you age. Your bones start to degrade. The way you can fight that, combat that, is to lift weights. So it's excellent. But when I moved to Colorado, it was almost like this magical time in my life where yoga just presented itself to me. And the yoga philosophy itself is what drew me in that direction. And so what's crazy is I decided, here we are 5 years later, today, right now on this podcast, I decided this is where I'm going, coaching, whether it's life coaching, physical education. Like, this is my journey. I've been on it for a while. I'm not coming up with this off the top of my head. I left UPS because I had, I left UPS because I had this thought of, what's keeping me from doing more with my life? And so the reason why I had that thought was because there was a dude named Basilio. And I was going to post this last week because last week I got a picture from 9 years ago, right? So I'm about to be married for 10 years. It was from 10 years ago, where it was my, what is the thing before your honeymoon? It's not your honeymoon. It's not the wedding. It's the, before you get married. I can't think of what it's called right now, but it was bachelor party kind of stuff. Yeah. And we went to a soccer game. We went to FC Dallas. I loved it. You could go sit down almost on the field, drink beer. I was drinking back then, not drinking now. And it was Basilio, Chaz, Xavier, and me in the picture. And these were people that I thought I was going to take forever through life. And Basilio died at UPS. That's the reason why I left UPS. That's how the question got asked in my own head, because I felt like Basilio had everything. I felt like Basilio had read How to Win Friends and Influence People at the age of 12 or something, regurgitated it, remembered it, and then used it on everybody else. Because quick sidebar, there's a story of a time where he asked me to do a route that I hated, where I was on a route that I liked, so that he could get off work early. And he's like, oh, bro, it'll be easy. You'll be able to do it. There's less packages. It took me all day. I thought I was going to get off early. Did not get off early. But that's what I wanted to do because he's my friend. He asked me. He made it sound real good, though. He made it sound so good. So I did. But that was Basilio. When he died at UPS, like he got backed into by a truck, which is interesting. The question of what keeps me from doing more with my life, that it rocked me. So, and those other three guys, like other two guys, one of them strung out on heroin, and the other one stopped talking to me because he owed me $150. So, look, I'm reminded of this movie I watched the other night, Rebel Moon. And in Rebel Moon, a spoiler alert, kinda, one of the characters has an army and he dies and everybody else dies and there's one person left. And that one person is sitting there like, why am I the only one left? I should have died with them. And dude comes up and he's like, I know a lot about being the only person left from the people who you were with that you thought were your roadies, your people, your dogs, right? And all you can do is pick them up, carry them with you, and fight and move through life in such a way that it honors them. And so, like, it's this perfect blend in my world. And I'm sure these things happen to you, too, where pictures are showing up, things are swirling. And it's like, oh, my gosh, I have been on a specific path for a while now. I left my job for a reason. And it's not until, 5-6 years, kid's going to be 6 years later, that I'm starting to understand fully why it is that I left. Look, have a plan. You should have a plan before you decide to leave your full-time job, even if you ever do that. But more importantly than that, you have to be willing to rise to the occasion. Like, I didn't know that was a key quality that you would have to have in order to be an entrepreneur, in order to be a father, to be in relationship with other people. You have to be able and willing to rise to the occasion. And because of that, rising to the occasion and knowing that, like, all I can do is my best. That's all you can ever do is your best. And you show up to what shows up, like, it takes some of the weight off. And it allows an individual, it allows you to show up as you. Now, you might not know what you is, right? You might not have any idea. But if you keep showing up to what shows up, you can look back and you can begin to see that, oh my gosh, every single year over year, I have woke up excited to teach, to coach, to help people to find a better understanding of who they are. Why? Just so that they can have a more enjoyable experience of life. Okay, it's stressful thinking that you have to beat down the doorway and you have to do this over here. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. You want to find success? Find the thing that you enjoy doing, whether you're good at it or not, and then keep doing it. That's it. And you're going to get better year over year. Yes, you're going to hit some snafus. You're going to feel like you can't keep going. But you know what? Here we are 5 years later. And what I recognize is resilience has been built. Resilience. That's what you and I as human beings are capable of, is being resilient. We give up on the idea of what we think the game should look like. We give up on the idea of what we think life should look like, and we just show up. Look, whether it was 5 years ago or today, I think I am horrible at coaching. I think I'm horrible at leading people through workouts. But people keep coming back. People keep telling me they enjoy it. And why? Why? Oh my gosh, I didn't understand why until I was listening to George Pransky. And he's talking about the humility gap with Michael Neal. The humility gap. I literally think to myself, if people like what I'm doing at this level, and in my head, I feel like I could do a lot better, bro. I feel like I could do way better. But if y'all like me here, as long as I keep striving for that better, as long as I keep striving for the ultimate summit, which is being on the journey, which is getting good at getting good. That's it. That's it. Will I ever have the best podcast out there in the world? I don't know. But I would like to have a top 10 podcast in spiritual development because it's fun, it's exciting, it's not about pressuring yourself. Yeah, I would love to have that. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep showing up to this podcast. I'm going to keep showing up for you guys. Right? I didn't know that yesterday. I didn't know that last year. I was just doing it because that's what I wanted to do. And now that I recognize it's the thing that I want to do and I'm on board with the thing that I want to do, what's going to stop me? That's true for you too. That's what I want you to know. Right. And the last thing before we get out of here, thinking about the movie Mission Impossible. It's so funny because it's a great example of what we do here in life. It goes like this. Hey, what are you going to do about X? I don't know. I'm coming up with a plan. And then they get into the situation. You got a plan? I'm working on it. That's it. That's what we do. You show up to what shows up. You get better when you can get better, right? A game versus B game. You get better at the tangibles, the things that you can get better at. I can get better at speaking. I can get better at communicating. I can get better at opening up and being a better listener. I can get better at pointing out when somebody's pelvis is misaligned or whenever somebody is in a down space, in a down mood and not in the place to speak and talk and they need their space. We capable of those things. Whatever out there is telling you that you're not is wrong. Because you a human just like me. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But you know what? I do enjoy when that sun comes up. Because I know I have another opportunity to be less ass today than I was the day before. Right? I'm going to be real with you. I'm just hoping that I'm a little better today than I was yesterday. That's it. I'm not trying to be better than him. I'm not trying to be better than him. But what I will do is I will keep putting in the time. I will keep putting in the work. I will get discouraged and I will keep going. Because we as human beings are ultimately resilient. Pick something you want to do. You don't have to be good at it. In fact, it might be better that you're not good at it. And then do that thing. And then do it and do it and do it and do it and do it. And then after you've done it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, 500 times, 1,000 times, 10 years, then judge your work. See where you're at on it. I promise you won't be where you started. Love you guys. Keep climbing towards your personal summit, and we'll see you next time.